I think one of the biggest issues with believing that God intervenes in the world in any kind of regular sense is there's so many horrible things that happen, and it's not clear why God doesn't intervene more, right? So when you think about God intervening in the world, there's kind of this sliding scale. So on the one hand, maybe you think God intervenes every once in a while to do a really big miracle, like part the Red Sea, or he intervened to raise Christ from the dead. And those kind of one-off miracles don't raise any sort of huge issues because it's like, well, he was raising Christ from the dead. That was something God did for all of humanity. It was good for everyone. Maybe miracles are a really big deal and it's okay for God to break his rules once in a while. But then if you get into, and a lot of people talk sort of in ordinary life about God doing things for them, like God gave me a parking spot, or God healed my brain cancer, or whatever. And we start to worry, like, well, if God acts that way on that personal level, if he makes these interventions in our life based on prayers or just his choice, then it starts to make God look like a jerk at the worst, or a nepotist, right, at the best. What if God intervenes in the world in a small way, but that small way sometimes makes big differences and sometimes doesn't make big differences, and the reason has to do less with God and his actions and more with us and our actions? It's possible that God is speaking to people and God is trying to direct people to solve these problems, but people aren't really listening to him. And so then it's not that God helps people only because they ask, or God helps his favorite people. It's that God is speaking to us and God's trying to direct us in ways that benefit both us and others, but we just don't always listen and follow through. And it's not that God doesn't care about that problem or that he's not working on it, but it's that he's working on it through us and we're slow to act. And I just think that if you think of God, if you open the box on how God intervenes in situations, I think that maybe some of these problems that seem so problematic could be dissolved.